Hello, welcome to Potentials and happy Halloween. It's the Halloween
Um,
episode.
Happy Halloween.
We have Zoe from the UK where it is actually happening. Like it's trick-or-treating time there.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
so if we get interrupted by trick-or-treaters, it'll be fun because you get to hear them
yeah,
say in their little British
yes.
accents and it'll be so cute.
I
So,
know. The little doorbell in the background and trick or treat. So
right.
that's if
And I
we
don't
get
know
enough
who I
money.
am. This is my little costume. I don't know. Who should I be? Ginger Spice? I don't know.
Oh yeah, ginger spice. Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Or
Red's
Ariel
the colour.
from I don't know.
Oh, Little Mermaids, you
Yeah,
mean?
Little Mermaid.
Ariel. Yeah.
This is it. For this is the furthest I go for my costume, just a wig, because
And
whatever.
I've just got a shirt on with skeletons and
Yeah,
pumpkins. That's yeah.
very nice. So you've
Yeah.
gone a lot further than I have.
my, my
Although
daughter picked it out for me. She was like, "Oh, you've got to get that." I was like, "Oh God, do I really?" She was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, okay then." So I thought I'd put it on. Why not?
very nice, very nice. Okay, well, so now that we've done that, I can take my hat.
Yeah.
That's good enough. All right, just okay. So, what would you like to share with us today? And I know that we got cut off at the end the last time because it was just getting it was
Mm,
over an hour, and I didn't want to make the video
yeah.
too long. So, what would you like to share with our audience today, and
Yeah.
maybe pick up where we left off?
Yeah. Pick up where we left off. For those that might be watching and probably are thinking, oh, what have I missed? Just go on either mine or Linda's YouTube, and you'll just basically just go on the video below this one. Yeah, that's right.
And
Um,
I will post your I forgot to do that the last time. I'll
yeah,
post your YouTube channel in my description so that you can
yeah,
see her
yeah,
channel as well. Yes.
yeah, that's good. And I'll do the same as well, so people know where to find you. So, yeah. So, before I continue where I left off last time, so obviously you remember me telling you the experience with Genesis. So I'm assuming is my higher self. I do feel that she's me, my higher self. I missed because remember me saying to you, I was like, oh, I'll try my best to remember every detail. I think the reason why I forget some of the little small conversations we had is because there were other things that were happening that were greater than that. And I remember the bigger things. For instance, she were like, obviously she downloaded information into me. So that was big, that was huge for me anyway. And so I struggled at the time to remember all the details. It was only afterwards I was like, oh, damn it, I should have mentioned this bit because this bit was important, but never mind. I'll just basically quickly share that now. So, yes, when Genesis contacted me before she gave me the download, she just literally downloaded images, like a video of just everything, I guess, the truth in my mind. She said to me that basically that everything that me and humanity have been told and everything that we thought to be truth and real and everything down to everything from our evolution, just everything that we've been taught from the moment we were born. She said basically it was is nothing but all lies and illusions. And then that's when she downloaded all the information with inside me, and again the images and stuff like that. So yes, so that's basically why she contacted me, as well as obviously activating me because it was my starseed activation. And that was kind of like the start really of my awareness of my spiritual awakening, because we've all been going through a spiritual awakening since we were little. We even had the signs and symptoms, but we just weren't conscious enough to recognize and perceive and take notice of the patterns. So, in every star seed at some point will have some sort of a visit, whether that's through a dream or, like myself, I was fully awake, and she obviously communicated with me through telepathy. So it's different with many starseeds and light workers. So yes, so that's that. So I've got that in. So where did I finish last time with my story? Right, so I might probably just repeat the last minute, just to kind of refresh people's minds, especially those ones that have watched the last video. So, okay. So I was guided by a reptilian who was in this underground facility, and he took me right across to the other side of the room. And there at the other side of the room was a large table and a human, a being that looked human, and he was sat there waiting for me. And so the reptilian said to me, "Okay, right, sit down." So I did, and then I was sat facing this human, but he wasn't human, and I detected his energy before, well, I detected his energy, and that's when I soon figured out, oh, he's definitely not human. And he knew that I clocked on. He knew that I realized that. So he kind of gave up the cloak, if you like, or hologram or whatever it was he used to disguise himself. And then he started shape shifting, glitching, and then eventually he just went full on reptilian. He showed his true self to me. And I remember the feelings, even though I've seen quite a few, because I've had quite a few experience with them. His energy was much more intense. And I remember I was a bit scared to look at him straight away. I can remember sitting there and I was looking down and I was saying to myself, excuse my French, I was saying, oh shit, oh crap. And I remember slowly looking up like this, just ever so slowly looking at him, like just adjusting my eyes, like, and then I opened my eyes and I was just like, whoa, because he was big. He was a big guy, big, very muscly. Um, I remember he got like dark brown, dark green skin, very rough skin, scaly, and he was just big. He was huge. So he kind of looked at me intensely, and he had this kind of smug smirk on his face, and he spoke to me through telepathy, and he said to me in my mind, he says, White is looking at me. He says, so you do know why you're here, don't you? And in that moment, I instantly knew. I knew, and I was like, and I looked at him and I said, yes, it's because of the information I put out on one of my social media accounts, TikTok. And he just looked at me and he smiled and he went, yes. And then he basically said to me that I've got 24 hours from when I wake up to just erase everything that I'd spent hours and days on, uploading my information, my story, as well as some of Elena Danon's information. So yes, so it did scare me in the moment, because he basically was threatening me, threatening my daughter's life, and he said, this is your last warning, your last chance, really. And he just looked at me. He gave me the impression that he was kind of thinking, like, you've got some balls, kiddo, to keep doing this. But anyway, I'm not scared. I mean, this was about, at the time I was scared. But I've had time to obviously, just, I suppose, sit with it really. And then, that's just one of many times that they have threatened me. And again, it's very common with starseeds, especially when you speak your truth, you get information out there. Of course, they don't want that. We are their opposing opposites. We are their number one target. And they've even taken us out. We are protected, but they have managed to take some starseeds out. But anyway, we won't go into that. So yes, so after he tells me that, I just basically, well, I didn't need to say anything. He felt my energy, and I was pretty scared in that moment. And then all of a sudden, the reptilian that took me over to him, he then came back to me and he said, "Okay, right, well, get up, follow me." So I did, and I remember slowly walking back to where I originally came from. And as I was slowly walking, I saw another reptilian. He was like a guard. a soldier of some kind. And I remember the weapons they had. They're not like weapons that they have here. They were very futuristic, almost like laser type weapons. Something you'd see out of the movies, sci-fi movies, or something like that. And but the energy that I felt from this reptilian that was just leaning on the side, it felt different from the other reptilians. He felt his energy felt softer, and he felt friendly. And I remember he looked at me, and I almost felt sadness from him. And I got the impression from his energy that he didn't want to be doing what he was obviously ordered and told to do. He felt very uncomfortable. He was definitely one of the smaller reptilians, I guess. So, you know, like one of the minion ones, if you like, the lower class reptilians, the slaves, I suppose. And I felt really bad for him, actually. I really did. And I just wanted to give him a hug. And he looked at me as if to say, "Oh, I'm sorry you're going through this, but I can't do anything about it," type thing. So it was really sad. So anyway, the other reptilian kind of pulled me along. It's like, okay, that's enough now. Pulled me along. And then I went from that area of that facility. Um, and then I went into a side room. I remember looking to my left, and there was an extension to that facility, and it was all like glass, so I could see through into the extension. And I noticed there were more tables, lots of bright lights, and there were people sat at these other tables. So then, anyway, I was guided to go through into this extension part, and then I was seated. I was told to sit down at this like desk type thing. I remember it being like a white desk, and I sat there, and there was some like objects on the table and some weird looking devices. I had no idea what they were, and also at the other side of the table there was a another reptilian, but he was in human form. And he looked at me, and he ordered me to stick my hand out on the table, so with my palm facing flat. So I panicked, and I said no. He said, "Put your hand on the table." I said no. He says, "I'm going to tell you one more time." He says, "Put your hand on the table, palm down." And I was just panicking. I was like freaking out, like, what the heck are they going to do? Yeah.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden, something activated on the table, and all of a sudden my hand, it was like a magnet, went on the table like that, and I couldn't move. Yeah, and I was freaking out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, let me just get my thoughts because I want to remember the details accurately. So, because there was something else, and I can't remember which way around it was, because there were a couple of devices on the table. Yeah, so it was the hand first. So basically, he then picked up a device, and it was my ring finger. It was in between my ring finger and this is the index, isn't it? I always get confused. So yeah, here in between my finger, it looked like, the only way to explain it, it looked a bit like a staple gun, a handheld staple gun. It kind of looked like that. And he placed it on my finger, and he pulled the trigger thing, and then I had this sharp feeling, and it was like a little tracking device or something. It looked like a little metal pill tracking device. Um, so that happened. I was like, oh, freaking out, like panicking. I just remember sitting there thinking I need to do something, because obviously I knew they were tracking me because of what I'd done. I needed to obviously keep a closer eye on me or something. And I just remember like just sitting there panicking, thinking, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And then this was it. Then the next thing is he then gets up, picks another object off the table, and he walks towards me, and he tells me to lift my head up and look at him and open my mouth and stick my tongue out. And I resisted. I was like, no, 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 yeah, no. And then he grabbed me like this, opened my mouth. And then as he went to put this object down the back of my mouth, I don't know, I have no idea what he was going to do. But I remember him squeezing me so tightly, and then I really panicked. And then in my mind, I just basically sent out an SOS, if you like. I literally said, So it happened so quick, and I remember saying to my galactic family, "Help! I'm in danger. I need someone to come immediately." So I sent that signal out, and then literally, I'm not even joking, within 3 seconds, behind me, I felt a huge draft, which so strong that I turned round, and so it was like a stone wall. There was no door there, but all of a sudden it was like a portal had opened up. So it's like this big portal. And so
Yeah.
it went from stone and this big portal opened. And I could see, I can't remember if there was two or three, but I'll go with three. And there was three beings that walked through that portal. And I could see behind them as well. I could see that there was another area to this facility, more rockery and some lights and things like that. So anyway, these three beings, they come through this portal, they walk over to me, and so I'll explain what they look like. That's important. I have no idea what these beings are. I can't give you a name. All I can do is just describe what they look like. So they were very tall, very slender, humanoid looking. Um, they had light blue skin. So they weren't Octarians or anything like that. Nothing to do with Octarians. They had long hair, like black hair. They had like braids. Some of them had braids. Some of them were tied up. The only way that I can explain what they were wearing is they were very like tribal looking, like native tribal looking. They reminded me of the Native Americans that we had or have here. You know, the things they wear. A lot of like they
Like
was
the thing.
wearing almost looked like they were wearing like um, some sort of material, like a skirt of some kind, like lots of different materials that overlapping and wrapped, and in a kind of like it looked like leather, but it wasn't leather, that kind of thing. They had a lot of like jewelry type thing. They was wearing that.
Mm.
Again, the hair was braided and just different styles, very, very long. They had large blue slanted o oval eyes, if that's the correct shape. I always get confused, the ones like the eyes that go up like that. They had
Yeah.
large, big blue eyes. And they were definitely like soldiers, they gave that energy. And so then after that, after taking in what they look like and stuff, even though it happened all very quick, they had weapons, so they draw the weapons out, and it was laser beam. It was literally a laser gun, and they were shooting the reptilians that were at the other tables who were doing the same things to what they were doing to me, to the other people that were there. They were like, so they shoot these other reptilians, and the reptilian that chipped me, he kind of stepped back, he panicked, and he went to run off. But the laser, the beam, the weapon had got him and took him straight out. And then I remember these beings, they were like all of a sudden like rushing. It was very like rush, rush, we've got to hurry up, okay, because there's going to be some more. I'm assuming there's going to be more, there's going to be a backup of reptilians or something at any moment. So I say to them, I show them my hand, and they basically get a device of some kind, and they retract, they take out what was put in my hand, and then they spoke to me telepathically. They said there was anything done to my mouth, and I said no, and says right, okay. And then but they asked me to follow them, so I followed them back out the portal, the same portal that they came through. And then by that time, more reptilians all come charging in with weapons, and these beings turned around and said to me telepathically, "You go out that portal," and they were pointing to because on the other side of the portal there was like I guess like steps, steep steps, like rockery steps and sand. It was very sandy, orange color. I remember the color of it, and they was
Hmm.
pointing for me to go up there like very quickly, because obviously they were dealing with these reptilians. And I panicked, so I went through the portal. I remember standing at these steps, and I couldn't see what was at the top. It was dark, and I remember having a split moment of panicking, and I was just like, as if like, which way am I supposed to go? I don't know. And then one of them pointed again up there. Um, Bearing in mind, I don't know if I mentioned this, but the whole time I had this experience, I was well aware that I'm trying to think of the right way to say it. You know, when people have dreams, they're not aware that they're actually experiencing it. They just in that moment when they have a dream, it's real, and it's only until they wake up they realize it was a dream. Well, for me, the whole time I knew I was there, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. Yeah,
right,
cool.
right.
Yeah. So anyway, so I remember running up these very slippery, sandy, rockery steps, and as I was running, I was slipping, and then I remember feeling the sand in my hands, and I was like, brilliant. So as I was feeling the sand, I said to him, I kept repeating to myself, Zoe, you must remember, you must remember, you must remember, you must remember, because I wanted to remember. And then I just continued running up to the top of these stairs, and it was pitch black. And then I remember just looking around like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? And then all of a sudden I could hear a pulsating noise, a very like zoom, zoom, zoom. And I felt this vibration and it was getting stronger and stronger. I've got the chills now. You can't see, but I've got the chills because I just remember it so much. And this noise and this humming got stronger and stronger. And then I was feeling that pull, when I was describing that same feeling that I felt when I got sucked from my bed. It was that same feeling. And at first I resisted, I panicked a little bit, but then eventually, it got stronger and I just surrendered and I just let it take me. And then the next thing is that happened. All of a sudden it was like I'm in this tunnel. It's a black tunnel. I could see it and I'm literally just floating and flying in this tunnel. I'm being pulled by this powerful force, this energy. And it was scary. It was intense energy. And, but eventually I did just settle into the energy and I trusted that, wherever I was going, I trusted that I was going to be somewhere safe. I was going to be fine. And I was right, because then when I came out of the tunnel, I remember waking up in a bed, not my bed, but in a bed, in a single bed. And I remember waking up and I was surprised to see that there were these children at the end of the bed and they were giggling and they were excited to see me, almost like they were waiting for me, to be there or, you know. And I remember sitting up because I half expected to be back home in my own bed after that. But no, I was somewhere else on this bed with these little children at the end, like giggling. And I was just like, whoa, where am I? And then eventually I get up and then I start walking around. I'm looking and I see like this hallway. So I goes down the hallway. These children are running past me, giggling, and then I enter this room. At first when I went in, it looked like a kitchen, just a normal kitchen, like your kitchen, my kitchen, a normal earth kitchen. And then I soon realized that it was nothing more but a hologram. And because it was glitching and I could see and I knew and I felt that it was set up deliberately that way because we were familiar with that setting. But as it turned out, we was actually on a ship. And then
Mm.
I was greeted by a Palladian woman. She looked she looked very human, as Palladians do. She looked very human, in fact, that if you saw her walk down the street, you'd just think she was from Australia or something, typical tall, slender, blue eyes, blonde hair, but she was definitely Palladian. And she didn't speak straight away. I just remember her just standing there and kind of watching me, almost like she was just trying to check my energy out, just making sure everything was fine. So then I looked to my left and there was a table and there were a man and there was a woman. And I looked at them and I wasn't speaking verbally with them. I was speaking through telepathy. It was just natural. Everything was telepathy. And they were from Earth. They had been taken the same way as I had been taken. So obviously they obviously got rescued probably just a little bit before me or after, I don't know. And I remember the man sitting there and he was just shook up. He was shook up. He didn't really say much. I just remember him sitting there and he was just like, just trying to process like what was going on. And then the woman, it looked like she'd been crying, and she looked at me and she said, "Did they do the same to what they did to me?" And she explained what they did with the hand and everything. I says, "Yeah," and then she said, "Did they do that thing to your throat or something? What I don't know what they were going to do." And I went, "No." I said, "But it nearly happened." And she said, "Well, you're lucky then." She says, "Because it was painful." and she was still having a lot of discomfort and pain. She says, "Oh, you would not have wanted to have gone through had just happened to her."
I wonder what
So
that
then
was. I wonder what they were, what, I wonder what that did.
I don't know. I really don't know. I'd love to know as well.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, it wasn't pleasant. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is what I mean. I just hope that I can connect to other people. It's not like I can just reach out to Elena Denon or someone. I'm sure she would know.
I wonder
Or
if
some.
it has something to do with your throat chakra or not being able to speak your
Yes.
truth, not being able to say what you were saying.
It could have been, yeah, like because I've experienced that. I've had energy removed from my throat chakra when I had a reptilian entity removed from me, when I had my past life hypnosis regression. So I was going through the hypnosis regression, but then the lady who was healing me and taking me through that journey of, my past life memory, she detected a reptilian entity and he was in my throat
That's
as an
probably what that
energy.
was. That's probably what that was. They were, yes. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
she asked the reptilian. She says, "Can I ask energy why are before we realize it's reptilian?" She says, "Can I ask you, energy, why are you in my client's throat today?" And he said, "Oh, I've got chills now again." He said to stop her from speaking her truth, is what he said.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
That's
So
why they weren't able to stop. Look, you're speaking your truth right now. They weren't able to
yeah,
stop you. It didn't work.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Thankfully
exactly.
you knew to ask for help from your galactic team. That's amazing.
I've got goosebumps now, yeah, because that
Yeah.
resonates. It's got to be that. It's got to
Yeah.
be, yeah. And it's funny because I've always had problems with my throat area on and off, which
Mm,
makes sense. So
yeah.
anyway, going back. So then I'm standing there, and so I turned to look at this Palladian woman, and I said to her again, telepathy. I says, what's happening now? Then well, that was it. I said, my daughter, I need to get home to my daughter. And I remember her energy was so calm, so calm. And 'cause I was like, obviously a bit panicky and stuff. She says, don't worry. She says, your daughter's been looked after. She won't remember, but there's someone there and she's been taken care of. And when you get back, she's not going to be none of the wiser. You're absolutely fine. Don't worry, type thing. So I was like, oh, okay, that's great. I said, so what now then? Why am I here? And she basically explained to me, she says, well, because of what you've just been through, she says, now that these reptilians are onto you, we will obviously basically, protect you. You are protected, of course, she says, but, we're just going to monitor you now. We're going to keep a closer eye on you just because now they have had their hands on you and, they could potentially try again. It's basically what she was saying. And then she said, this confused me at first. She says, so you're going to go home, you're going to wake up. She says, and we will have you here three times a week. So then
Mm,
I was confused and I was like, how can I said, how's that possible? How can I be at home, but then with you 3 times a week?
yeah.
And I realised, obviously, not physically, it was going to be like my astral self, or when I'm asleep, I will be there basically 3 times out of the week. But she said I wouldn't remember, and I don't
Yeah.
remember, so I don't know what I was doing, what I was talking about. I have no idea. I don't know.
That's really interesting. That like, and there is such thing as bilocation as well that we're just finding out.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there's also that. And they would make sure that you don't remember something because it's not going to be something you need to remember, really. It's just a way of them. It's like going to the doctor's office. You don't really need to remember anything there.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So then, yeah, after that, then all of a sudden, I wake up gasping for air in my own bed. I'm at home in bed. And I remember I literally sat right up like this and I remembered everything,
Mm,
everything. So then, of course, excuse me, burping. I goes to reach and grab my phone, and I thought there's too much information for me to get it on paper. I thought, what's the best way to log this information? So I just basically voice recorded the whole experience. And that's what I did. So I've got it now and I've got it saved elsewhere. So, but then of course I remember, still what the reptilian said, you've got 24 hours to erase. So before I even had a chance to go to the toilet, make a cup of tea, I did there and then. I went on my social media and I deleted the whole lot. And I was just so angry that I was put in this position, but at the same time, I had to do it because obviously it's a whole different thing when it's just yourself, but when you've got children and they're threatening your children, it's just not right. It's not fair. Whether they would have actually caused harm, or maybe it was just a threat. I don't know, but I didn't want to risk it, so I deleted everything.
Yeah. But
So,
it's
oh
just,
yeah,
but you're getting it out now. So it's just,
yeah.
you're not gonna stop, and you're protected.
Yeah.
So you'll be fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and do you remember in the podcast we did before this? When I said to you, just while they were sucking me out of bed, or a portal was sucking
Yeah.
me out of bed. Remember me saying that there was I could see there was like a black figure to my right on the floor, like a little small black figure. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And I said, oh, it was Moon. And it definitely was Moon. She obviously was in her astral form and she saw what was going on because when I
Moon
woke
is
up,
your cat. Just so people know.
oh,
Moon is the cat. Okay.
yes, sorry, Moon is my daughter's cat, but yes. Um, and if you want more information about that, then I recommend you again go and watch the video previous to this one because it'll all make sense.
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to be very confused. Um, so yeah, so then again, I remember waking up and Moon was on my bed, on my chest, and at that time she was quite young. She wasn't overly affectionate with me. She was more affectionate with my daughter, or attentive. She wasn't really like that. But I knew she saw something and she remembered because she wouldn't leave me alone. She kept sitting on my chest. She was purring. It was almost, oh my God, you
Healing
are,
you. She was healing
healing
you.
me.
That's how they
Yeah,
heal you. Is
yeah,
the vibrations from their purrs actually
yeah,
send healing vibrations to your body, and they heal you
yeah,
that way. So that's awesome.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was almost like, oh my God, you're back, don't worry, you're safe. Yay, Nana's back. So that was sweet. She wouldn't leave me alone. And I knew in that moment that realization hit me. I was like, oh, it was you, wasn't it? And I spoke to her, I said, it was you, wasn't it? You saw what happened to me. And I remember looking at her in the eyes and she just looked at me like this, says, you know, don't you? And then she's like, "Oh, that's love." So,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
it was.
amazing. Yeah,
But yes, that's the end of that experience. So there you go.
amazing.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you so
that's
much.
fine.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So I managed to remember all the details, so that's good.
yeah,
So yeah.
good.
Right. So I've written down a few notes just because, just to help me to remember because sometimes I'm a bit of an ADHD mind and I either, think of so many things at once or I struggle to pinpoint what it is I want to speak about. So yes. Okay, yeah. So I want to talk about just giving a bit of awareness about I suppose for anyone really, anyone who's sensitive, like workers, starseeds, there will be at some point other beings that will try and try to channel through you. Um, and of course, it's entirely up to everyone, if they want to give their energy to another being to channel through them, of course. Um, but I've noticed a familiar theme with a selection of starseeds where they just willingly just let other beings take over them, and these beings could be anyone or pretending to be of positive beings, but in actual fact they're negative beings, and light workers and starseeds are targeted because they want to use them to spread false information, to just confuse the masses and to confuse themselves. Again, it's another way to cause division and things like that. So, so obviously, my higher self channeled through me. She communicated with me through telepathy, but obviously that's everyone knows what telepathy is. It's all in the mind, but it wasn't just that her energy was actually in me. So I do believe she was my higher self. We're always connected to our higher selves, but she was closer. Let's say it's the only way to explain it. It was she. Well, she was within me. Like she wasn't,
Right, right,
but still connected. She was literally. We became one in that moment.
right.
And so the first thing to really look out for, never mind what they say, because anyone can say anything. Anyone can easily deceive people with words and pretend to be, anyone. But the biggest thing to really look out for and to tune into is their energy. So, for instance, I knew Genesis was a positive being because her energy told me, and because I'm sensitive to energy. So, the energy that she gave off was just pure protection, love, comfort, peace. And they can't fake that. That's one thing negative beings can't fake is their energy. They can fake the way they look, they can lie with their words, but they can't change their energy. You're either positive energy or negative energy. You either have positive intentions or negative intentions. So that's how I knew she definitely was positive. So you kind of get the idea. So obviously, if it's someone pretending to be positive, but in actual fact they're negative, then their energy, even if you can't understand it and you can't make up your mind whether it's good or not, because of course, it's easier said than done, and it can be confusing to people. Just just basically, if you just can't make up your mind and you're asking questions like, oh, I'm unsure, or something's not sitting right with me, then listen to yourself. That is your higher self, your intuition. You don't have to understand. That's, it's just your higher self, your intuition's way of letting you know that yes, something is off, something's not right, it's not resonating. That their truth, that being's truth, or whatever information they're giving to you is not resonating and to you. So you're perceiving it as false. It's not, it's definitely not positive. So yeah, so that's basically how to tell, because they can't fake their energy.
Right.
And so yeah, and I've noticed as well, there's a being who goes by the name of Ashtar Command, and I don't know what race he pretends to be, but he pretends to be, a an extraterrestrial, if you like, and he tries and connects with starseeds and light workers, and he wants to channel through them again to give false information. But he will pretend to be of, he'll pretend to be positive, to pretend to have your best interests at heart, and to pretend to help you. It's actually quite the opposite. I don't know 1000% with the facts, but according to Elena Danan, um, there isn't a being called Ashtar Command. It's false. It's nothing but a psyop, and I'm pretty sure she said somewhere on the lines that it's actually either AI or it's to do with our government, the Earth government. They've got a program, and they pretend to be this Ashtar Command, and they target individuals again to channel through them to spread false information, fear, mistruths, twist things, twist information to cause confusion. So yes, so if any of you are listening, and if you've ever had a being come to you who pretends to be someone called Ashtar Command, of course it's your free will. We all have free will to choose and believe whatever we want to. Um, I'm just following from my experience and from what Elena Danan have said, and also a few other light workers have said that, do not trust this energy. It is a psyop, and it's just basically everything I've just said. It's just to try and target us, to cause more division, separation, and fear and things like that. So
And
yeah, just
confusion
want
as well. Confusion as well, right?
and confusion, yes. So how he contacted me, this was probably about 3 years ago. I was in the garden, and all of a sudden I hear this male voice, and he said, I am Ashtar Command, literally like that. It was just so unnatural. And this is exactly how Elena Danan says how he comes across, almost like robotic. I am Ashtar Command, and instantly I knew. And it was clear as day in my mind. And I remember I said to him, telepathy. I just basically, I can't remember exactly what I said, but something on the lines of, yeah, you look like, yeah, I know who you are. You've picked the wrong person. Don't bother. laters, and then he was gone like that. So yeah, but if I wasn't aware of this knowledge, I would have probably been sat there and be like, oh, of course, so who are you then? And listen to his lies and stuff. But of course, it's up to each and every one of us, with what
I don't know. I like to think that you have a good enough sense, of intuition that you
yeah,
might have picked up on it anyway, like, because you can
yeah,
read energy. You're very good at that. So,
yeah,
yeah.
true, true. Yeah, I think I would have done. Yeah, most likely. Hello, Angel. Yes, my cat Angel, she's here.
Aw, can we see
I
her?
know.
Can you? I'm curious. I've never got to see Angel. I've seen Moon before.
Can you see
Aw, hi, Angel. Hi.
Angel? Hey, Bubba.
Beautiful. Yes. Oh,
Okay.
wow.
I don't know if you got to see her very well, but yeah, she's there. I think she wants to go. She's like, I need to go to the toilet. So,
Yeah.
one moment. They've done well actually so far. I've only had to get up once, and hopefully that's all it'll be. Come on then. Yes. Go toilet. Go. Good girl. Yes. Right, so I'll just have a look at my notes. So yeah, I've covered that. Ashtar command. Finished my story. Protecting your energy. Oh yeah, when channeling. Yeah, so I don't know if you want to talk a bit about how different methods and ways that we can protect our energy from
Yeah.
negative outside influences, especially while we're on this topic. I think that would just finish it off nicely, wouldn't it?
Yes.
So I mean, did you want to share some of it? Me asking you, it's your interviewing me. Is there anything you would
Well,
like to say before?
I mean, I think you're doing beautifully and beautifully put everything you're saying. So, yeah,
See,
whatever you want to
I'm
share,
getting better.
share yours, and then if I have anything to add, I can add.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll start with how to protect yourself. If you feel like you're under attack, because I've mentioned this before to other people, and I've helped a lot of people because a lot of people have been under psychic attacks and was not aware, and they put it down to just intrusive thoughts, anxiety, just their mind playing tricks on them, which is our human mind is very, very capable of doing that. But because I used to be like that, I used to think, oh, it was me. What's going on in my mind? Why am I thinking this way? This is not usually me. And I come to realize, no, it wasn't me. I was having thoughts and ideas and things and imagery projected into my mind from elsewhere, and that's what we call a psychic attack.
It's usually
So
fear-based in some way, I think. It's usually fear-based, something that you're afraid
yes,
of, or
yes.
something that that you might have a concern about. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it comes to you like that, like, oh,
Very
what
negative,
happened?
very abrupt.
Yeah,
Yeah, very
yeah,
abrupt. Because of course it's normal for us to sit there and ponder in our minds and worry. We're human. We being human is very stressful, and we have, so many worries and so many anxieties. And there's many times we've all done it. We've sat there and we've played scenarios in our head and we've stressed and
right.
it kind of comes on slowly and it's kind of there for a while and then eventually it fades off and it kind of replays and repeats in our mind and that's normal but
That's This is
yeah.
more abrupt. It just is like a thought that pops into your head out of nowhere.
Yes. So what I'll do is I'll share some examples of my experience is probably the best way to go. And then people who's watching them might be like, oh, yeah, that happened to me.
Right.
I just think it was strange, but yeah, that makes sense. And then I will go into ways to protect yourself. So for me, it doesn't happen so much now because now they know that I know. They got away with it for so long. Um, and I was just doing it so often that I didn't realize I was doing it. But anyway, so for me, so the last psychic attack I had, again, probably, well, if I say 5, 6 months ago, and I remember I was very calm. I was watching TV. I was nice and relaxed. Had a fairly relaxing day. There was nothing that I needed to worry about. in that moment. There was no reason for me to feel anything other than just peace and calmness. But anyway, all of a sudden, I won't go into great detail because it's you need to have a thick stomach, let's just say, or whatever that saying is. But all of a sudden, and this is very common with, but I'll get into that in a minute. So all of a sudden, I was having images in my mind of children and babies being tortured. I have to be careful what I say now, obviously, because of when it goes up to on YouTube.
Mm.
So yes, there were things. There was basically children and babies were being tortured in horrific ways, um, very sadistic ways, let's just say. And I won't really go into detail, obviously, because I have to be careful. And it was playing over and over in my head. It was very, very strong, and it caught my attention right away. And I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" And it was just sickening. It was absolutely sickening. And I was trying to fight it off. I was trying to distract myself. I was trying to not think of it. And I couldn't. It was just there. And other things as well. It could be all of a sudden I would just feel pure hateness, like hate and anger towards a certain person, someone perhaps who I was like, particularly close to at the time. All of a sudden, I would just be pure rage, anger, and hate. Um, so with that, that wasn't necessarily from a let's just say a negative entity, whatever you want to call it, reptilian, alien, extraterrestrial, demons, whatever you want to call it. Um, it wasn't that time. However, they can do that because that's another thing they love to do. They love to cause chaos between you and other people. They love to split people up, especially if they're getting too close, especially if this person in your life is influencing you in a good way. They don't want that. So then, of course, they will project almost paranoid thoughts. But you feel
Yes.
paranoid. They'll project feelings of like, oh, this person doesn't really like you. They're just using you, or they hate you, or they're jealous, or they're envious, or
Yes.
look at you.
Yes.
Who do you think
Yes.
you are? Who do you think you are? You're just nothing. You're just, or you can't trust
Right.
them. Yeah, things
Exactly.
like that. That's
Right.
classic tactic of them, of both reptilians and other entities, but also as well, just normal people, because we're all connected, so just say, for instance, a friend, or an ex-partner, they can, if they have still got unresolved hard feelings towards you, if they're sitting there and thinking negatively about you, you will pick up that energy because where, as we say, where attention goes, energy flows. This is why we have to be mindful. So if they're thinking of you in a negative way, they're
Yeah.
unaware of this.
Yeah.
Consciously they're unaware, but probably subconsciously and spiritually they are absolutely aware of what they're doing. So of course, because they're thinking of you, that all that energy, all that anger, that malice, that whatever it is they're feeling in that moment, is coming straight to you. And this is because oftentimes we do have energetic cords still attached to ex-partners, ex-friends, ex-family members. We all have that cord, and we'll get into how we can, cut these cords a
Energetic
little bit.
at the chords. Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Very
absolutely.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, what I'm saying, psychic attacks can come from anywhere. They can come from people, they can come from, demons or lower vibrational beings or extraterrestrials, reptilians. They can come from absolutely anywhere. And the same applies with someone, someone's thinking positively about you and sitting there like, oh, I'm wondering how Zoe is, or I love Zoe, or I miss Zoe. Then you'll get, all of a sudden, a nice peaceful feeling, almost like a hug, and that's positive energy coming from them. But anyway, we'll focus on the negative side of things because it's important. So yeah, so if you get any thoughts or feelings or anger, or just coming on all of a sudden out of nowhere, and there's no reason for that, then yes, that is you being under attack. most definitely.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I just wanted to think, just see if there's anything I wanted to
Also,
add to that.
possibly the person that you're thinking about is also under attack.
Yes, that can happen. Yes, also they're using both of you, aren't they? To because it's an energetic war, it's a spiritual war,
Right.
and we won't go too deep into it, but obviously there's certain world leaders, elites on this planet pretending to have humanity's best interests at heart. Call them governments, call them whatever you want. They're here, and we there's so much evidence. They've caused division through everything, through our genders, our sexuality, our religions, our everything. They've used everything, every tool, and just used it as a weapon against us all, you know. And again, they very often turn, especially family members, they often, as what you were saying, they can influence one family member and another family member, influence them both, and they're sitting back and probably laughing and having a right field day watching us, these two family members, fighting it out, whether that's physically, verbally, or energetically. And half the time, they're not even aware what's happening. It's very common. They do that anyway. They can cause division. They'll do it. They do it. They do it all the time. So yes, different ways that you can protect yourself whenever you feel like you're under attack, and even if you're not 100% sure that you are under attack, because I know especially people that are kind of new to this and they're still trying to like get a feel for the energies, and it is very easy for our ego to jump in and say, oh no, it's just you being silly, you're just being paranoid, you're just worrying because I don't know, you've got abandonment issues, or it could be anything. So it's very easy for us to second guess our judgment, our intuition, and listen to our ego.
Mm.
So, but regardless, whether you are generally are under a psychic attack or you're just in a very, very negative mindset, this protection, methods that I'm going to share with you will just help anyway, because no one wants to be, in all that negativity anyway, because it's no good. Of course, it's there, it serves a purpose, it's there for a reason, it's a tool for us to help see many things. We see a lot of things when we're in dark places, but when we dwell on it for too long, then it can be detrimental, and it can absolutely affect our energy, to the point where our energy is so low that we can be prone to more attacks. So for instance, attachments physically, we could have entities attached to us energetically, and that's a whole other thing as well. But anyway, to prevent all of that, it's always key to try and keep your vibration as high as much as possible. And there's many, many ways to do that. So, for instance, let's start with some of the normal things. So, okay, a lot of people forget this, but I've got trick or treaters. You probably heard the doorbell go.
I hear that. Yes. It's okay. It's all good.
Yeah. So, drinking water. Water is absolutely amazing. It's very grounding, and
And drink it
it,
from a copper cup.
yes, I haven't got a copper cup yet, but I will be getting one. Yes, so drink plenty of water. Um, and of course, you have to do more. Everything I'm going to share with you, it helps. You don't have to do everything all at once, of course not, because it's little bit unrealistic sometimes, especially.
And another thing I'd like to add just quickly, if you're
Yeah,
going to drink water, especially a lot of us do this, but try not to drink it from a plastic bottle.
yeah,
Um, Try to get glass, and when you, I know it's hard to buy it in that's not in plastic, because when you go to the store and you buy bottled water, it's always seems to be in plastic. But as soon as you get it home, you can restructure the water, which I've done a little TikTok video on how to restructure water, and
yeah.
I could put it in the link in the description. But you could restructure it and then put it in a glass jar and keep it like that, and it'll be much healthier for you than drinking out of plastic. So that's just my little rant. I'm sorry, go on.
No, it's true. It's important actually, because there's so much in the plastic which changes the water, but that's another story.
Yeah,
Um, But yeah, so with what Linda just said, restructuring the water, which is something I've heard a little bit before, a long time ago, but she introduced it to me. And yeah, it's amazing. It just goes to show that, with the right positivity and the right intention, we can restructure anything because, a lot of things, including the water, has been messed with and it's not in its purest form. And it does, yes, it can do many things to us. So another thing with the water, you could put crystals in the water, but you have to be careful with what crystals you use because not all crystals are able to sit in the water and it can damage and ruin the crystals. But you can use, I'm pretty sure, yeah, clear quartz is a good one, rose
Yes.
quartz, amethyst, things like that.
Yes.
Especially the crystals that have that shiny, it almost looks like they've got a shiny protective layer on. They just have that. I think that's probably what protects the crystal. It's nothing added on the crystal, it's just the crystal's natural form. And I think that's probably what protects it from the water damaging it, maybe. That's just, I guess.
What about selenite? Is selenite one of them that you can put in water?
No, no, unfortunately, you can't use selenite. It can dissolve in water.
Oh, okay. What about tourmaline?
Yes, tourmaline, you can use that. That's a good one actually. So if you use crystals like that, especially tourmaline, as Linda just mentioned, what it does to the water, it basically, I suppose, it resets the water. Oh, I'm trying to think of the right word, recalibrate the water.
Oh,
It just puts the water back to its original state and structure, to how water should be, as well as it charges the water with positive energy, as well as drawing out and absorbing any negative energy that may be in water. Because, if oftentimes we all have a glass of water and we leave it, I drink water from a bottle and I always have a lid on, just purely because when you have water out for too long, water naturally absorbs the negativity that's in the air, it's in the room, and it sits in the water, and then we drink the water, and then of course we're consuming what's now being transferred into the water. So I try not to you know drink out of a cup, or if I do, I don't leave it lying around for too long.
I'm
So
just
yes,
going to show you very quickly what tourmaline looks like in water. So
yeah.
that's my jar. I don't know if you can see it or is it blurry?
It's a bit blurry. Put it in front of your face. There we go. Yeah.
Okay. There. And then I have graph. This is what graphite looks like.
What is it called? I know what you mean. I'm trying to think what it's called. Graphite. Was it
Graphite.
graphite?
Yeah, it's graphite. Yeah. This
Yeah.
is or granite. What am I saying?
Granite.
Granite.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, this is granite. I don't know if it's blurry. Can you see it?
Now I can see it. Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
knew. And this is selenite. Do not put this in water. At least not for a long period of time. So, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, so that's the water. Okay, so food. Let's do food. So we're all prone to being a little bit naughty and just grabbing, food that's not necessarily good for you. I wouldn't even call it food because there's just absolutely no nutritional
Should we
benefits to it
should we
whatsoever.
talk about our addiction? Should we talk
Yes,
about
well, no one's perfect. So yes, let's talk about our addictions. So I try and keep a balanced diet, but I'm not perfect. I am an intuitive eater, as I've told Linda many a times, but when I listen, that's the difference. It's all right knowing the information, it's acting on the information. But anyway, when I'm being extra good, I listen to my intuition. So my body tells me what is right for me, what I need in that moment, what food I need. So, for instance, if I am in a very low vibrational energy, so perhaps, I feel more depressed than usual. I've got no energy. I'm just very, my thoughts are very negative, or I'm poorly, or, anything, all that can bring your vibration down to a very low state, and then you're just more prone to more sickness and prone to attracting more of that same energy into your life. Um, so yeah, so when I'm in that energy, my body, my intuition craves healthy, live, living foods. So, plant-based foods. So, plenty of greens, salads, fruits, things that are actual real food, not processed rubbish that we have plastered all in our supermarkets.
Mm.
So because it's natural food, it's living food, and they say you are what you eat as well. So, if you eat good, you feel good. You eat crap, you feel crap, rubbish. So when you're eating those kind of foods, they elevate and raise your vibration. And you do, and you know yourself, you feel better when you eat good. You feel
Yeah.
better when you've had a nice nutritional balanced meal, and you feel the shift in your energy, and you feel the shift in your mood, and your mood changes because your energy is now elevated.
Right.
But then, also as well for me, if I'm, let's say, vibing too high, and let's just say we're good, but we're not that good, we can only be in either energies for so long. We have to fine tune, we have to find balance. So I find if I'm too up in the clouds, so if I'm too high vibe, and people might perceive that as me being manic, very
Mm.
talkative, loud,
Right. Right.
bubbly, having a hard time staying focused, perhaps being accused of having ADHD, which I have been labelled with. That's when I know I'm vibing too high and I need to ground my energy. So then
Mm.
my intuition will say, Zoe, you need to have, let's say, some meat or some root vegetables. So especially things like potatoes, turnips, swede, carrots,
Yes.
anything that grows in the soil, because it's closest and connected to the earth, it's grounded already, it's grounded energy, it's grounded food, it's energy in the format of food, if you like. So then, of course, I'm craving that. So then, as soon as I eat those kind of foods, I come back down to earth and I'm a lot calmer and I'm balanced. So there's
Mm.
no judgment here. Um, Unfortunately, a lot of people do judge and they'll point fingers and they'll be like, oh, you're eating meat, you're going to hell, and that's wrong, and you're cruel and this, that, and the other. And we'll probably go deeper on that another time. There's no right or wrong. It's all there. Everything has a purpose and a reason. I'm not saying that animals are only there just for us to eat. I'm not saying that. Of course, um, they have their own path here. They have their own journey and their own learning and experiences. Just as we probably once were a blade of grass, a bird. That's how we've evolved, and then we got to the point of being human, or another being out there in the universe. But yeah, so again, no judgment. If whether you just want to be vegan, pescatarian, or you just or meat, we have to have what we need for what we need in that time for our energy. So anyway, so things like that do ground your energy, like I say, plenty of root vegetables and stuff like that. So that's what I mean when I say intuitive eater. I
Right.
don't wake up every day and have the same plain old meal, porridge for breakfast, I don't know, an egg salad for lunch and a jacket potato with green veggies for dinner. There are people like that, and that's absolutely fine. If that works for them, then that's what works for them. But I literally just go with what my intuition tells me. But yes, I'm a bit naughty, and so is Linda, because we have a little addiction. In fact, we have the same addiction.
Yes, we
And
do.
yeah, and that's
Crisps. We love
crisps,
crisps.
crisps, or if you're
I'll
from
just say
America, chips, chips.
it. Well,
Yes.
I call them crisps too because that's what they're called on I get this little can and it says the good crisps on it. And that's
Oh
how
yeah,
I tell myself that I'm eating properly because it says the good crisps right on
yeah,
it. And it
yeah,
doesn't have as much, it's not like Pringles, where Pringles has like all kinds of really crappy stuff in it. This is not
mm,
as bad.
yeah,
So it just has a lot of salt. That's really what it is. It's just like way too
yeah.
much salt. So I have to, when I have this salt craving, I just have to have those crisps.
Yeah, you just can't get enough. I'm so addictive.
The
I
whole
just
thing
love
is
I
just,
love the texture, the crunch, the
yeah,
saltiness, and I can't control myself. If I had to pick between sweet and savory, I guarantee it would be savory every time. Crisps.
it would be the crisps. Me too.
Yeah. So
Yes.
then, yeah. so they're the basic yeah. So they're the basic things,
You know,
things that we
what's funny is I just picked some out of this couch. I just realized
yeah, oh my God, you've got a little hidden stash, haven't you, for when you yeah.
I'm gonna have to clean
Oh,
this later. It's kind of gross, but anyway.
that's funny. Um, so yeah, of course, crystals. Many of you know crystals. They protect your energy. They help clear your energy. They help rebalance. They help, to give you raise your vibration. Um,
They're
a
good
lot of
for
people
meditation.
good for meditation. A lot of people aren't aware of this. A lot of people just go to the crystal shop and they'll see a crystal and they'll pick it up, or whatever crystal they're drawn to, and that's absolutely great.
Mhm.
Um, oh, here's Moon. But what a lot of people don't know is when you get the crystal, you have to actually activate the crystal, because the
Yeah,
crystal is its own consciousness. It's its own conscious being. It's its own living. It's alive.
yeah,
It's just a crystal in, well, it's a live, living consciousness in crystal form. And we have to respect the crystal, like we have to respect everyone, life, nature, animals, humans. We always have to have that respect, and the same applies especially with crystals. And how I activate my crystals is I will sit with it in my hand, and I'll either place it my head down in the crystal, and you can say it, verbally or in your mind, it doesn't really matter, but I'll do it with telepathy, and I will ask the crystal, I'll call it by its name. I will, show gratitude, appreciation. I'll tell it how much I love and respect the crystal. And then I'll ask it politely if it will please work with me, work with my energy, connect with my energy. And depending on what sort of crystal, of course, and whatever it is you need in that time. But let's just say for healing, please, selenite, please can you help assist me, support me, connect with my energy and help heal me, and just say thank you, and and things like that. And you can visualize, or if you just try and keep your mind blank, you sometimes can see the in your mind's eye, the crystal energy in your mind. You can see it. It's like for me with selenite, its color is it to me it shows itself as white, and it's like a misty um white color, and it's you can see it pulsating, and it pulsates like this. Yeah, beautiful. It pulsates in my mind, and then I feel it actually bonding. Yeah, beautiful, bonding and connecting with my energy. I feel it in that moment, and then the crystal's activated. You've activated it, so then now you don't have to do that every time. Of course, you have to look after your crystals. Numerous ways you can do that. Sit
sunshine.
in sunshine, moonlight, and things like that. But yeah, so that it's important to activate your crystals. So I just wanted to share that, really, because I didn't always know that. That's kind of something that I came to understand later on. So yeah, so crystals, meditating, as Linda mentioned, meditating is great because breath work. When you're breathing in the prana, breathing in those good ass vibe energies, you're breathing in light. Each breath, each breath you draw in, the more light you draw in at the same time. So for me, what I do is you don't have to, but it does help. If you sit there or lie down, whichever you prefer, close your eyes and take a slow, steady, deep breath through your nose, and just visualize the white light above you. And with each breath, you're drawing in that white light either through your crown, and bringing it through you like that. Or sometimes I do it this way. I imagine the light is coming through my nose, through my nostril, and filling me up that way inside, or again, through the crown. So you just keep drawing in that breath, hold it. And as you're holding it, this is what goes on in my mind. That light, then I can feel it moving. And it looks like mist. It's like misty. And it's just floating around in my body. And what it's doing is it's collecting all the yuckiness, all that darkness. And that's how I visualize it. It's like a cloud. It's like a dark fog. And what it does is it collects that, it absorbs that darkness, it can transmute it, or it will push. So when you exhale your breath, that light then is pushing that darkness out through your mouth, and then it's going out through your mouth. You just imagine it like a mist coming out your mouth, and then it's going into the light that, obviously that is above you, and the light is carrying it away, and it's transforming it and turning it into light. And that's
Yeah.
what you do. And you can do
Yeah.
that for however long you want until your whole body is filled with light,
Mm.
and then you can feel the shift and change in your energy, and so your vibration is higher. I did it one time, I kid you not. um and immediately afterwards my light started flickering, because that's how much I'd raised my energy, and it was interfering with the my phone, my TV
Yeah.
light. That's when you know you've done it properly. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And then if you have to do something, then just go eat some meat or something else. That way your lights won't do that anymore.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
uh, but yes, thank you so much for sharing that. I think that we're gonna have to come back and do some more, maybe some
yeah,
more short segments on other
yeah,
things. Because I don't want people to miss this part because we've been talking for a very long time. And
yeah,
of course, I do edit things sometimes, but it just makes it easier when we have just little short segments that we can put out there for people, little bite-sized,
yeah,
digestible, pieces of goodies for them. And I think
yeah.
that was brilliant. I really love that. Thank you for sharing
Oh,
that.
good. I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm glad. So that, yeah,
yeah,
it is good. Exactly. When me and Linda spoke about doing some small segments, because, there's sometimes we have a short attention span. I know I do, because like I said, I mentioned before, I have a ADHD. It's just because my vibration is a bit
yeah,
more, just higher, not better, just higher, because I look after my energy and I raise my energy. And sometimes I raise it too much. And anyway, as we mentioned before.
yeah.
But so that's a great idea to just do small segments, because then it's more, it's enough. It's enough, isn't it? Then because it's a lot of information, isn't it? And not everyone can always remember the information at one time, and it can be a little bit overwhelming. So
Yeah.
it's more easy to digest, and they might actually be able to watch through the full video, because
Right.
you know, yeah,
Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We'll do some more on this, and we'll come back and do that, and maybe even today, because we have the time to do it. So whatever works.
yeah,
But thank you for sharing your whole entire story, and I know you have more bits to share with us, but I mean that was brilliant. I love the whole that whole entire story, how it wrapped together, how it transmuted from this dark thing that happened to you into this beautiful thing that
yeah,
actually you know changed you into who you are now,
yeah,
and that you're talking about it and you have no fear and you don't have any reason to fear because you're very well protected.
yeah.
And so I just want to encourage anybody else who's out there who the story resonates with and wants to talk about us, about it with us, feel free to contact either one of us to do that. And what there's always something out there for someone um to connect with. And we can connect with you, and we have the best of intentions, and just we're on that love vibration. That's where we're coming
Oh,
from.
it's all from the heart.
It's all
I'm
from the
just,
heart.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's all from the heart. Always have others' best interests at heart. Absolutely. We just
Yes.
want to help people. We just want to share our
Yeah.
information, our knowledge, our wisdom, our experiences, and I'm sure no matter who watches these videos, there's going to be something that's going to resonate with someone, and it's going to help someone. If
Yeah.
not, at least it will encourage other people to probably, I don't know, just take better care of their energy, or just be more mindful, or just help them to be and want to be better, or whatever it is. It could be
Or
anything.
maybe just feel more comfortable in
Yeah,
who you really truly are, and know that yeah,
yeah.
you're star seed, you're a light worker,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it's okay.
stop
It's okay to be
hiding in
one.
the closet. Stop
Yeah.
hiding in the spiritual closet. It's time to come out, of course, in your
Yeah.
own time. But
Right.
obviously, people like me and Linda, seeing people like ourselves, just being at peace and being comfortable with sharing our story. And it's coming from a place of love and not fear. We're not scared to share our story. You know, it encourages you and other people more to be like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. You know, we can do it together. And
Yes.
that's basically what it really is all about. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah. So thank you again, and everyone. I'm going to put all the information in the description if you want to reach us or look at anything that we've talked about. I encourage you to do that. And thank you for watching again, and we will see you next time. Ciao for now.
Bye.
Bye. If I can find record, there it is.